Michael Glasheen. He's the operations director for the National Security Branch of the FBI. The operations director. The reason this guy was there is because Patches Patel, he was too afraid to show up.
Executive Order Domestic Terrorist Organization, Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing. Right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
So where is Antifa headquartered?
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist?
Yeah.
If it's a terrorist organization and you've identified it as number one.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
So what does that mean? We're trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than Al-Qaeda and ISIS.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the number one domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States, I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just how many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
Sir, you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did.
Man, I bet he's mad. He probably went back to the office. He's like, damn it, Patches. Why'd you do this to me? When you follow behind a fascist in the White House who just flippantly calls Antifa a terror organization without any identification of what Antifa is outside of people that are against fascism and how much he's against those people, making him a fascist, and you're this high up position in the FBI, and you go there to try and sane wash that thought process, you get caught in that whole circle that he just got caught in. Benny Thompson weaved that web perfectly. You're part of the FBI, bro. And it's embarrassing that he's now tainted his entire career, probably, because this is going to be a lasting thing, a lasting effect on who it is that he is and what it is that he represents. Because right now he represents fascists. Let me show you someone else who picked this guy apart. Michael Glasheen, who was picked apart here by Representative Walkinshaw. Walkinshaw decided to ask him about the Proud Boys.
Mr. Glasheen, are you familiar with the Proud Boys?
I'm familiar with the name, yeah, Proud Boys.
Okay. Does the FBI still designate the Proud Boys as an extremist organization? They did in 2018 in President Trump's first term.
We are in the process right now of changing our categories for domestic terrorism.
So they're no longer designated as an extremist organization. The FBI designated them an extremist organization in 2018. Has that changed?
I'm not aware that they did that.
It's all over the media, sir. It's widely reported. Can you get back to me on that?
Sure will.
All right, thank you.
One thing Walkinshaw should have done was let him off the hook like that at the end, because he's not going to get back to you on that. They're taking away the designation of Proud Boys being a terror organization, because the Proud Boys are now Donald Trump's personal army that have been enlisted to put masks on and call themselves law enforcement, run up in communities, and then start terrorizing people, kind of like a terrorist organization might do. But we've got a criminal in the White House, so that all makes sense. It was all kind of begun when Donald Trump told his Proud Boys at that debate.
Are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Who would you like me to condemn?
White
Proud
supremacists and right-wing
Proud
militia.
Boys, stand back and stand by.
Because he was like, wait for me. I'm going to be utilizing you guys soon. I'll be pardoning all you guys that have committed violent crimes and then giving you guns and masks and smoke and pepper balls and grenades to throw at the American people. That's what he's about. Because the Proud Boys that this FBI higher up didn't want to point out was they do things like this.
And I experienced something firsthand today that I will never forget in my life. And that is, we were called here to see if there were ICE agents who had the audacity to come and try to arrest and kidnap people leaving church on a Sunday morning. And so with a small group of us, I elected to see, and we did see, cars speeding, running through red lights, unmarked cars, tinted windows, and indeed, Jan and I were driving around to see if these were ICE people surveying the church, and indeed they were. We turned into a parking lot and were greeted by approximately 4 unmarked ICE vehicles with agents who immediately stopped us and pointed semi-automatic weapons in our face, asked us to roll down the windows, threatened us multiple times with arrest. I mentioned to them, or I asked them if they had a warrant for my arrest. They said, we don't need one. Wow. And they continued to threaten us multiple times, pointing guns at my wife and I's face.
This elderly couple is telling the story of having semi-automatic guns pointed in their faces for, like what I just showed the other day, was looking at ICE agents, watching, monitoring them, observing them, maybe even recording them, which is the worst thing you could do to criminals. And this guy's telling his story of damn near being killed by them. An old, elderly, white couple. That's just not gonna fly. It's not gonna work anymore because we've been conditioned to hate, fighting age Latinos. This is starting to run really dry. Here's the second half of their story.
And we were kind of trapped because we had come in and they jumped, they came toward us right away with their guns. And so the only way out was really to back up too.
Jan was very nervous.
I was scared. I've never had two guns.
I've never had a gun pointed at me before in my life. And to think that these individuals represent
our government.
And here I am, we're a retired couple. And this is terrorism.
Wow.
They took pictures of my car and my license. It's a personalized license that I made in memory of my grandchildren. And they mocked it. They were acerbic. They were obviously not trained at all. I've known many police officers in my life. These people were right off the streets. They just had collected their $50,000.
No level of professionalism.
Zero. They had the professional demeanor of criminals.
Miranda rights.
The Miranda rights. None. No, nothing. Just unprofessional. They were like the insurrectionists you saw pictures of at the Capitol. And here they're terrorizing an American retired couple. It's unbelievable. It makes me ashamed.
So you have an old, elderly couple telling the story of being harassed and terrorized by ICE agents. And Michael Glass-Sheen, who's the operations director of the National Security Branch of the FBI, testifying about how Proud Boys, how he doesn't know that they're no longer a terror organization, and trying to justify labeling Antifa, whatever that is, as an organization that's a terror-based one. You're going to lose that argument because the old guy is ashamed. He lived here his whole life, showed his dedication to his country, and he's now ashamed. It's the kind of language that has you losing arguments, and they're losing it really badly.